Everyone. I was a little late today. I'll have to post my schedule about when I'm going to go live, but I find that every time I have to change spots in my gym, what happens is like it's a whole nother setup and it takes me like half an hour or something. So I'll get better on it. So today, so yesterday I was working on connecting the neckline for the core, and today I'm going to open up the bottom hips here, and I'm going to start working actually on the upper body of the core because I need my pressure to come up into the chest here in order to work anything. And I don't know if you have this problem, but if you're collapsed all day and then you want to try to do overhead motions, it's really hard because the tissues are stuck. So you actually need to get that lift from the breath to open up to then allow the movement to come through. So where I'm going to start today is I'm still trying to fix my pattern to unlock it so then I can get into the fun stuff. But, it's really the fundamentals. And if you're a trainer or anyone exercising and you can find out where you're compensating, and if you can release that, that kind of unlocks the key to like a whole new muscle and whole new tissues. So for today, I'm going to do some upper body core, some lower body core, and it's still connecting, but I'm going to add some mobility in as well. So when I relax, you can kind of see that my right shoulder is dipped in a bit from all the rotations. So this is a compensation that's actually probably been around since I was young because I've done so many. Have you done any throwing motions or volleyball, badminton, right? Everything is this side. And what I did was I realized now that I ended up dropping. And this is why a lot of times when I was young, I had this shoulder pain back here, but it's because I wasn't back in my body, connecting my throw to my leg to, I guess this is like the whip. So this is the last part. I was initiating with the hand and dropping into my legs rather than initiating with the floor and pulling up and snapping with the hands. So that was the difference of what I was doing, and that's kind of why I have this rotation issue going on here. So I really feel that in order for me to get back into the right side of my body and back into my body, I need to really promote the motion here. So that's where I'm going to start today. I'm going to take the ball, and when I roll out, a lot of times I like to promote the motion, and then if I find something, I hold it for a bit. So, promote the motion, and then if I find something, hold it. Good. And then, like, if I find out when I'm going live, I can do what I'm doing, and a lot of times I want to set it up every day, but a lot of it is based on just fixing the initial problem and then how I feel that day, right? Just like when you're going out and exercising, there's some days you don't feel like it, and if you have good movement, then you can push it a bit. But if you're really not feeling it, it's good not to hurt yourself, and it's good to give the tissues a little bit of rest so they can get used to the new pattern. Because the fact of the matter is that the more you move, the more you're going to start to feel the tightness, and the more you're going to want to move. It's kind of like, when you first start working out, it's really hard at the beginning, and then you get into a rhythm, and then it becomes easier and easier. Good. So now you can kind of see here, right? And I'm going to be working on this for a while, but now you can see here. So if I relax, and I'll fix the hair. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm connecting my hands, right? I'm going to be pushing out on my elbows, and then I'm going to be leaning back into my body as I feel what's tight. So take a look here, right? You can kind of see the collapse on the right side. So what I'm doing is tension in the hands, and then I'm getting my lift from the floor, and I'm coming back into the body, and I'm holding that. And as I do this, I'm just allowing the tension, so as I push off with my left foot, I'm allowing the tension to go back to my right heel and cross my body. So I'll show you again. So this is from the front view, right? So here I am, I'm collapsed, I'm dropped. You can see the rotation. So as I push off the foot, right, I allow myself to get back in my body. So I allow the lift to get back in the body here. Good. And I'm gonna hold that, right? Because this is where I am, and this is where I'm gonna be. So I feel that, I'm gonna hold that, and this is where the exercise comes in. So now I'm holding the tension there, and now you can see, watch, if I lean into my left, it's easy, but if I lean into my right, there's tension. So you can even try this yourself. And I'm creating my circle, right? If I relax, my elbows are gonna drop, the tension's gonna come forward, right? I'm pushing the elbows out, leaning back, lifting up into the right side. So I'm gonna do this about 5 times, and then I'm going to do this with the rotation. So then with my ribs. So pulling back on my right heel, forward on my left heel. And this is where the rotation problem comes in. So when I relax, I notice tensions on back of the left side, front on the right side. So lift, back, pulling back with the left, or back with the right heel, forward, to allow my ribs to turn. 2, 1, good. So I'm gonna hold this now. Okay, so now with this rotation, it's pretty good. I'm gonna go back into the same exercise that I did yesterday, where I have, you put your hands on the door frame, you put your hands on the wall, but I'm gonna grab the bar, I'm gonna lean back, and then what I'm doing is, again, from the feet, I'm lifting up with the spine. I'm not pulling my arms to try to sink down to let back, because here I'm still collapsed. I'm pushing up, almost like my head is like a rocket ship taking off. So again, it's all about that lift. So now it's nothing with the arms. What I'm doing is it's with the feet. So I'm pumping my legs back and forth to try to promote that motion. So look how far I can go into the left. And this is because I load the left a lot more. And then this is as far as I go on the right. And it just feels so tight. And you can, another thing I notice is when I'm driving, right? I'm always left collapse on the window, right hand driving. So this is another one. My driving stuff is collapse on the left, right hand driving. So then this takes the ribs, pulls the ribs, pushes everything down. Okay, so getting the upper body set here, I'm gonna take this into an exercise. So I'll just move the camera just a touch. Okay. Perfect. I don't really need many weights. So technically, like you can I can do this and work on my body just using movement, controlled movement, balls, roll-up balls, bands, and body weight. You don't need any exercise equipment to fix yourself. You honestly just need the body awareness and they call it the kinesthetic movement to determine where you are in space again. So what I'm doing here is, again, getting my lift, and same thing, right? So arms pushing out, and I'm pushing my body back into the table. So as I do, you can see my chest lifts. Good. So as I have this chest motion here, I'm going to grab a ball. You can use a weight. I'm going to slowly bring it up over my head, stretching the fascia back without letting my ribs pop. Okay, so if I just want to do this quick, ribs pop. Motion, this is the stable part. So this stays strong, so I can engage it and then allow it to stretch. So engage the core, tension on the ball, body back, and allow it to stretch. So you see how far I can go back, feeling the core. And again, I still feel my neckline from yesterday, so this is getting the deep tissue line here. And why am I shaking? Let's see. And I just make micro movements. Yeah, because I'm feeling the stretch. So exhale. So inhale, core engaged, arms back, ribs, keeping the ribs down, but not forcing them down. That's key. Keeping the ribs down, tension back of the head. How far can I take the line and stretch it? Right about there. You'll see, like, I'll start to shake a little bit because there's a push-pull motion and because the front's tight. Exhale. So one more time. Lift, tension, bring it back. Keeping the spine straight. So I'm lengthening the spine, pushing my body back into the table, not letting the hands lead the motion. This is getting better and better. Good, you can see I'm starting to shake a little bit. Good, and exhale. And why I'm doing that, why I need this widening here, is because if you look at me, if you look at the back of my shoulders here, my lats need to be wide so then they can be over my body to promote the motion and promote everything. But when you look, right, I'm collapsed down and collapsed forward. So I need to really start working on my lats, getting into a little bit of my rotator cuff, teres major and minor, stuff like that. Okay, so that's the first exercise for the upper part and to get the ribs going for me, again, to get the alignment in the spine. So the next part is going to be, I'll move it back here. Good. Okay, so the next part is going to be two things for the lower abs. So one is going to be getting the lift up and holding it. And the last thing is going to be with the table and holding the lower abs, again, shaking. So think of this as the end of a deadlift when you stand up, right? Everyone grabs and then pushes their butt forward. Okay, but what I want to do is I don't want to squeeze with my butt pushing forward. I want to allow the motion to come up as my front stretches, my back pulls down, and the abs come, I guess my body comes back. So I'll show you in a second. Okay, so here I am relaxed. Okay, if I'm at the end of my motion and I'm doing a deadlift and I'm bending and I'm pushing up, you see how all the tension still is coming forward. So when you look at my body right now, you see this is lengthened and this is shortened. I don't need that. I need this working backwards so that this can pull and come down together. And as it pulls and comes down, it allows the butt to squeeze because the front is opening up. So that's what you're looking for at the end of your squat, your deadlift, when you're standing and stuff like that. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my lift, and again, it's feet in the floor, coming back into my body. So take a look at that again. So here I am. So this is me relaxed. This is me normal, pushing my feet into the floor, coming back. So I'm getting my lift to come back in my body, and this is the last thing that comes is the down. If I just tuck my tailbone under, my weight's still forward. I'm still on the front of my toes. So this is why it's key to really get a base and a foundation, because if you start lifting 40, 50 pounds with a poor posture, all the weight's going right into your back. Okay, so get my lift, and then I'm just working on the last part of the deadlift. So I'm just literally going inhale, and I'm going exhale, driving the stomach in. So I'm focusing on here, keeping my base, stretching. And as I do this tiny motion here, I really feel a deep stretch. I'm relaxing and I'm pushing. And as I do, I'm lengthening the spine. Because if I did the pull up without the feet and without the lift up, this is what it would look like. But that's my weight going forward. And then I'm going to end up with, again, that little pooch there. So pushing, And if I just hold this position, I feel the lower stomach stretch and I feel everything. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this position, not from here, but from here, and I'm gonna bring this and I'm gonna load it, and I'm gonna bring it into my core exercise. Good, so here is the core exercise. So it's the same motion that I just practiced, okay, where I feel the front working up, back working down, and there's a huge stretch here for me. Like this is really tight. And I'm gonna lie down on the table, and I'm gonna let the weight of my legs. So if you have a stronger core, go further down, but if you don't, head back up to the table. Move this a little bit more. Okay, so here I am. Okay, again, promoting that lift up. And when I do that lift up, okay, I am also pulling, I guess, filling out the side space. So as I pull in, right, and I'm lifting up, I'm allowing the sides right here to get some air in it. So then, legs are hanging, right? So right now, the weight of my legs is gonna want my lower back to arch like this. So what I'm doing is, I'm taking my core, I'm pulling it in to flatten my back to hold up. Good, and you can see, I'm gonna do this for 30 seconds. And you can see, like, I'm starting to shake. I have to keep that lift in my head and my neck, and I have to be aware, like, okay, when do I feel it in my back? When do I feel it anywhere else? And I'm just gonna do actually little, like, leg movements here. Because tomorrow I'll work on the groin and connecting the groin to the core. 3, 2, 1. Right, and you can see when I relax, everything gets dropped and pulled back down. So I'm taking my motion, I'm actually loading my bad posture so I can feel where it's at, and then pulling it back up and holding it. Right, and it's key, right, not to just lift the legs. I have to, that's it, allow the, allow the thighs to stretch as I'm doing it. If you need help, a lot of times what really helps is if you have like a wall or something, or if I had a bench, and then you can push your feet onto it to get that lift, and then slowly bring it down one side and hold, and then slowly bring it down on the other side and hold, because this promotes the motion as well without so much force. And I think that's like one of my favorite core exercises, because it loads you in a bad posture, and then, well, I guess in a bad position, then you have to take it and pull it back up. So I guess that's what I'm working on today, is I'm working on opening up the hips a bit. I'm working on some rotations, and then again, just still some core exercises, getting the fundamental down before I get into the big motions, because I don't want to take my crappy, I guess, body awareness and my tightness into what I'm doing, because it's honestly, it's just going to make me more tight, and it's just going to make me feel like crap. So anyways, if you have any questions, I guess I'll start posting the schedule, but you can ask me questions as I'm doing this live, because then it'll go really well. So part of my journey, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow.